Yeah, there we go. Yo, 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 YouTube, back with another live with myself, Charlie, and Stu, of course, and a special guest. We've got Ethan here. Welcome, Ethan.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Glad you could join us. So, Ethan, just to kind of give you well, I'm going to let Ethan tell you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh God. Like, what do you want to know? You need my social or something?
Yes, I want your PIN number.
Oh God.
He likes
One one one
long
one one.
walks on the beach, moonlit nights.
Um. No, I've been collecting because of one of my buddies got me into it in high school. Now I'm of course 28. Doesn't feel like I've been out of high school for 10 years.
Goes
Um.
fast.
But we've got. I've been collecting only mostly football. I'm trying to branch out into baseball and whatnot. Um.
Whoop,
No,
you got to
Whatnot's a different platform we
Yeah, you
talk
gotta
about.
careful saying whatnot here because that's like another thing.
Oh, am
'Cause,
I gonna get like shadow banned?
no, it's just we say whatnot and then we're like, oh, like a
I
live
say it all
show.
the time, especially
I know,
around the
so do I.
guys, and then they're
So do
like, "We're bidding on whatnot."
I. Yeah,
Um, I, I don't know. I'm a card addict. Adams told me not to buy wax, and I've started to be good about it, just buying singles, stuff like that, turning it
yeah,
around. I do sell on eBay every once in a while when I have stuff to sell. Otherwise, I mostly like setting up at Adam and Charlie's show. That one's always a fun get together.
awesome. Yeah, we'll do a plug for the Goat Show in a little bit. Um, just a little more on Ethan. I met him a long time ago. I was friends with his dad, doing some Star Wars costuming, and he was just a young kid then, 16, 17, something like that. I don't know. It's
Might have
crazy.
even been earlier than that.
But then a few years ago, we got together. We both kind of found the card thing together, and we had gone to some shows, and I kind of showed him a little bit about what I was looking to buy, and he had a lot of fun just digging through boxes, pulling cards out. Uh, got a lot of knowledge, really, really dug in and literally, uh, and willing to learn about different cards, '90s inserts, things that he wasn't pulling out of packs. And now he's kind of my right hand man at the bigger shows and finds me lots of good stuff for inventory. So it's really nice when you're at those big shows to partner up with someone. You can hit a lot more tables, you can hit a lot more boxes, and even if he's not sure of something, he can say, "Hey, I think this is a box you want to take a look at." I can
Hmm.
hustle over there and do that. Or I find a box of wrestling, which I know a little bit about, but not a lot. And I can say, "Hey, this looks like it might be something. You want to take a look at this?" And he'll tell me, "Hey, buy this guy, buy this girl, whatever." Well, that's Macho Man. Everybody knows that. Um,
Oh,
but
really?
yeah, come on, Slim Jim
I was
commercials,
just say
yo.
sponsored by Slim Jims this week.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Um, yeah, so that's kind of how that built up, and we're thankful to have Ethan join us tonight. So he's here, staying at my house because we are going to the NFL draft tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday. Pending there's enough for us to do there because we're not going to go watch the actual picks. But Panini's going to be there, and
Fanatics.
Fanatics, and I'm hoping Tops. Usually Tops travels with Fanatics, and there's signers there. There's going to be draft day, special items, and there's a vendors area, and I know some dealers that are going to be out there with cards and stuff. So we're looking to have just a great old time and just kind of take in the draft. I don't know that it's ever going to come back to Green Bay again, so this would be our or if it does, I'll probably be not walking around anymore, so it's not going to do me any good. Um, but for now, that's something we can do. So we decided to go take that on. I don't want to pay $14 for a beer, so we're gonna have to kind of work around a
Oh,
few things. But that's the par for the course, I suppose. Travis Hunter was here today, out in
hmm.
the parking lot, throwing the ball around with some kids, and uh, I saw some videos of the inside of Lambos, just some people working there, and they've got some pretty cool stuff set up in the atrium area, and um, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Parking is atrocious, that kind of thing, but luckily we're close enough. We're going to get a drop off, participate in the day, and then probably just get an Uber back and um, then call it a day. But yeah, I'm excited. I think it'll be fun.
You should. Well, you live outside of town, so I don't know that you have the option. But I know we're talking about they've got some free bus lines set up to go from different points in town to Lambeau. So we're gonna head downtown to the old parking ramp that we frequent when we go to the KI card show here in town and catch the free bus to Lambeau as a family.
Yeah, I'm kind of fortunate. I have a family member who lives pretty close. So worst case scenario, I can get dropped off in her and park in her driveway. Otherwise, we're planning to go to the Uber lot, which is the Cabela's. If you don't know Green Bay or Lombardi Avenue, Cabela's is half a block walk or so to get to Lambeau. And I figure that's the best spot to stop because your whole walk there, there's gonna be stuff because you walk through all
Right.
that Packer. Luna calls it Packerland, but it's all the Packer equipment there and their practice field and all that kind of stuff. Fan field, I guess, is more accurate. But you got the restaurants there. You've got the big rings on display, all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah,
I
Titletown,
figure
isn't it? Isn't it called Titletown
it
District?
is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I figure on our, we can almost do stuff on our way to where we're eventually going to end up. I think you're going to walk down that way no matter what. So we might as well
Yeah.
start there and work our way inward, and then we'll just come back when we want to catch a car.
I would say I think the main entrance is at the end of Texas.
Yes, I believe that's true. Yes, because Lombardi itself is blocked off.
Mhm.
So the farthest you can get is to where Cabela's is, and then that little frontage road area, which is for like emergency access only or something, I think.
Yeah.
But the Ubers can pull in there; they can all get into the Cabela's lot. So that's kind of my goal. So I figure, yeah, we're gonna have a little bit of walking and stuff, but I'm not afraid to do that. I mean,
No.
walking 20 miles a day in the national and all that. So this is gonna be less than that for sure. And I'm gonna do some video. I'm gonna take some video. I worked on a video today. I never got it done because I was fighting with Car Dealer Pro all day. Um, but I think I'm just gonna do the draft videos day by day if we end up going more than one day. So it's not just not so cumbersome to just try to do one big video at the end of it. So should have something right away tomorrow night for the channel. I'm hoping.
That'll be good.
Yeah, gotta pull the comment section back up. Still has that stupid share link thing popping up on mine.
Yeah, I have it, but it stays condensed down.
Yeah,
Doesn't
mine
get
just
annoying.
sits on the bottom of the page, which is really annoying.
That's because you have a crappy phone.
Shush. My phone makes sandwiches, okay? Does your phone make sandwiches? I didn't think so. All right. What are you looking forward to seeing tomorrow?
I honestly don't even know what I'm looking for. Like, I don't even know what to expect. I've
Yeah.
never seen any like video of people at the draft other than like the draft event itself. Like you,
The
I'm
picks?
excited to
Yeah.
yeah, I mostly just watch the picks. I don't really YouTube anything else. So it's all gonna be kind of a shock to me. Like you said, the vendors, it's always cool to see what's kind of sold and whatnot. Um, I don't know
There's that word
if they're
again.
gonna I'd say it a lot. It's almost like an addiction. I should sign up to, get paid to say it every
Right,
time,
right.
but
Yeah.
It's kind of a genius marketing move on their part to start a company off of a common saying.
and I legit
Yeah.
I don't think I said it much until I had a whatnot account.
There you go. Well, once you're on camera, you tend to repeat your normal
Yeah,
filler because you
yeah.
don't want the dead silence. So you're kind of new on the camera scene. So as you do it more and more, you get a little more used to it, and it doesn't pop up as much. Yeah, I agree. I don't really know what to expect either, and even just kind of trying to follow along, and we've had the app and stuff, so we have access to the information that's coming out. It's not really that clear.
Yeah.
Um, the TV schedule is pretty clear, obviously, for the actual picks, but outside of that, it's kind of walk around and try to find stuff, and I don't know, mix in with the crowd a little bit.
I did see the One Pass app was giving me updates today about
Mhm.
what to expect of the draft tomorrow. I didn't take a look at it yet, but I plan to browse through it.
Yeah, the biggest thing was the signers, the autograph signers,
Yep.
and I think they were wasn't there was something else in there today too that mattered. Was
The
it the
parking.
entrance? Yeah, the parking and the
They were
entrance
really hammering that because I
entrances stuff.
took
Yeah.
the highway here, and they actually
I
have
mean,
electronic signs saying,
Yep.
"Hey, check your one pass to see what's filled up and whatnot."
oh my gosh. Speaking of that, I was going to work this morning, and work takes me through, if you're not familiar with the area, my office is in Ashwaubenon, which is technically where Lambeau Field is. It's in the village of Ashwaubenon. So I have to get off the highway. I live across the river from there. And as I get to the exit from the main Beltline highway we have here in town, there's this brand new highway sign that says, "Welcome NFL draft attendees to Brown County." And then I got to work and I heard there's more around at other exits. And it just hit me on the fact that we just paid tax money, probably 15 grand, to get a bunch of signs for one weekend.
Well, I'm hoping they'll use them for other purposes going forward, like, "Hey, dipshit, slow down, it's snowy out," or, "This person's running around and doesn't know where they are, find them," kind of, I'm hoping they'll use it for more of some other positive things,
I
but
bet you
yeah,
they do not.
I bet you might be right.
The
But
highway workers take them home as mementos.
maybe those go back to the NFL and they do something with them. I don't know.
Maybe I can get one to end up at the land up north.
Right?
Put it
Well,
up
just
in the
just
barn
take
there.
one. If no one's
Yeah.
gonna care afterwards, just grab it.
We've done that before growing up in the country.
We've done that before growing up in the city. So
Except for
yeah.
me, it was mostly traffic.
Let's see
Traffic
what's
cones?
on
Ran
the
away with
One
the traffic
Pass
cones.
app here. Thursday daily entertainment opening moment from the Packers, Lift Every Voice, and Anthem by Steven Wilson Jr. That's what they're advertising on the One Pass app.
Yeah, I don't care about any of that. So we'll be there,
Nope.
for once the regular curtain opens and we can run around and do stuff. It starts at noon. We're planning to get there. We're probably going to leave here about a quarter after 11. Brianna's going to drop us off, so we'll probably, by the time we do the walk and everything, it'll probably be closer to quarter to 12. Um, and I don't know if they're going to have everybody like line up and then,
Bum rush.
or since the other stuff is outside, if they just kind of let you walk around, even if it's not quite open yet. I don't know.
Yeah, they did
I don't know.
add the player appearances on the schedule now. So
Yep.
those will start about 3 tomorrow. You can go see Luke Musgrave or Mecole Hardman, Quentin Nelson, or our own hometown boy, Alec Ingold.
Oh,
I'm not even gonna lie to you, I didn't even realize who that was.
You don't know who Alec Ingold is?
yeah.
I
Did
don't
he,
pay
did he
attention to
play
golf.
for? Did he play for Ashwaubenon?
He graduated from Bayport like
Oh,
5-6
Bayport.
years ago, and then got drafted
Oh.
by, I believe, the Raiders.
Okay.
And now I think he's in Miami, maybe.
Yeah.
We've been fortunate to have a few NFL players come out of the Green Bay area.
Yeah, we did have an Ashwaubenon kid when I was in high school that came out. I can't remember his name.
Yes. He played for the Jets. I just
want to
saw
say
him a couple weeks
Dexter,
ago.
but that's not it.
No. His younger brother played for me in middle school when I was coaching in Ashwaubenon. James Morgan.
Oh, that was the quarterback for the Jets.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're thinking of Aaron Stecker back in the
Stecker.
late 90s,
Yes.
early 2000s, I believe. Yeah.
That's correct. Yes. He went
Yep.
to the Buccaneers, I think.
Yeah, might have
I
been.
remember
Might have
correctly
been.
because he was there with Warwick Dunn for a while. Oops,
Yeah.
didn't mean to do that. Yeah, so I don't know. So we've got a couple of fun days coming up, hopefully. I've tried to get as much work done here as I could before I go. I'm going to obviously have to do orders each morning, but it's nice to have something this big and this special, but yet I can still go home at night. I like that
Yeah.
part.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like I can still kind of run my normal day. Although I broke a tooth today, so I have to go to the dentist at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning.
They don't care. It's non-critical.
Yep, right. Actually, they do care. She called me right away, and I'm getting in at 7 a.m. tomorrow. Uh, so I have to add that into my day. But outside of that, I think it's going to be kind of just roll in and see what it's like, and no pressure. If we don't find anything, no big deal. We go back home. So kind of exciting that way. It's not. I've done so many like big conventions where it's all the hotels and the flights, and you got to be here at this certain time and lug these costumes around and do all this different stuff. So
Yeah.
this will be kind of refreshing from that.
I gotta be honest, I've gotten to that old man stage where I'm like, I don't want to go down there and mess with those crowds. I just want to stay home. But I have two young boys that I'd never forgive myself for if I didn't give them the experience when it's probably the only time in our lives that it'll be in Green Bay.
And I think that's the key to it. I mean, it's literally like an 8-minute drive from my house. I mean, how do I not at least go for a day?
It's hard not to justify it.
Right, and I don't have to ask time off for work. I'm in a situation where I can, if I want to do something, I can go do it, and then just work around it. But it'll be fun to get some video and just kind of see how it looks in Green Bay to have something like that. We we have a normally our population is like 300,000 people. This is almost literally going to double it.
Yeah.
Not that everybody in town is going to go, but a good number of people from our area will be there too, and then plus all the people coming in.
Yeah.
So it's the for our little Green Bay town, this is a bigger thing for sure. And like I said, I mean, I sell cards for a living, so I kind of have to go because of that. Panini is going to be there, and maybe their new golden boy Patrick Mahomes will show up wearing a giant Panini shirt or something. Well, you never know. I'm just kidding. Patrick Mahomes is not going to be there. All right, should we hit some chat, or do we have some? Oh, let's talk about the Goat Show.
The
We got to do
Goat
that.
Show.
We got to get our Goat Show pump in there. So Goat Show, June 8th, Riverside Ballroom, east side of Green Bay. 9 to 2. I just have to think of the time. I don't know why I can't remember that. But
I'll help you out.
it's going to be really exciting. We've got our Marcus Allen autographed helmet giveaway donated by this man right here. So you can thank Ethan for some of those nice autograph donation items. We have some good packs that we're going to hand out. We had another vendor donated a bunch of cards to make some kids packs. I'm going to do that. I got a donation this past week for a Bart Starr Brett Favre SLU, so starting lineup figures, double figure pack. So we're gonna have
Nice.
that to give away. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And it has cards in it. Has the Kenner cards in it, so that's cool. Got a bunch of old school '90s wrestling stickers. Wrestling, right? Isn't that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
See these. They're nice and shiny and sparkly. And then they have the little vending license print on the back. So those would have been in like 50-cent vending machines back in the day. So we're adding some new options, right? Because there's wrestling fans that come and they don't always get cool free stuff. It's usually other sports stuff. So it'll be fun to have something for the wrestling fans. Of course, we'll have Pokemon and some other things, but yeah. So that's kind of the big ad so far for this show. We're about a little over a month out, so we're going to try to get a few more donations here and there. We also have we locked down our charity for this show. We're working with I'm going to totally get this name wrong, but the Green Bay Closet, is that right? School Closet.
Yeah. You're right.
I don't think we even added that to the flyer yet. The flyer has to be updated with a few things. I'm going to go drop some more off next week at the shops, and a couple other locations. But yeah, that'll be added on there too.
I feel like we're missing a word in the Green Bay East closet.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like this Green Bay School Closet, something or other. Anyway,
I'll get it hooked up for you here. Carrying closet. There we go.
The carrying closet. So
Yeah.
essentially, what they do is they collect, you know, kid-sized clothing items, shoes, some school supplies, anything a kid would need to help them be successful for the school year. They collect that stuff and then they make sure it gets to families and kids who need it. So bring your donation. Bring shirts, shoes, pants, shorts. Anything you can think of. There's like a whole list too that's on the Goat Show Facebook page. If you go to the post on there for the charity portion of it, um, and you can click on that, and it'll tell you where the types of items they're looking for. So they're also looking for like personal hygiene items, like deodorant and stuff like that. Um, so a wide range of items. Hopefully that a lot of people will have things that they can bring in. Of course, we'll also be selling our $1 tickets, um, to enter you in the drawing for that autographed helmet. So those are sort of the big developments. I remember we talked about this, but I don't know if it was confirmed in that email from them. Is one of their representatives going to be there too
I don't remember
from that
seeing that, to
charity?
be honest with you.
Okay, well, I'll try to confirm that before next week. So I haven't had a lot of time this week to go through any of that stuff due to just stuff going on here, and then having to really try to get ahead because I'm going to be gone for 3 days. So, but anyway, for sure, that's the charity. That's who we're tied to. That's all been confirmed and set up. And then, I'll try to get you some more details from there. Should we have any? But that's the Goat Show. So hopefully we'll see you there. Those that are coming into town for the draft and checking out our little city, if you want to come back and go to a sweet card show, we got something good cooking at Riverside Ballroom. Excellent food, plenty of parking, ATM on site, lots of bathrooms, bar, you name it, it's there. And of course, amazing cards, amazing vendors, and your hosts. And we'll be doing a live show from there, Charlie and I. Stu kind of. Stu doesn't do a whole lot. He's been lazy lately.
He just holds the fort down.
He's just eating grass. All right. That's it for the card show pump. Let's move on with looking at some chats. Do you want to click chats, Charlie, or you want me to click chats?
I can click them if it's easier for you.
That works. Why are we brown? Why do we have brown for our like names and stuff?
Well, I see yellow and
Oh, I see
green.
brown. It's brown, isn't it?
You're asking the colorblind kid.
It
No, I think it's brown. Yeah.
Looks brown to me. Anyway. Hey, it's 3 weeks in a row, a new record. Last night doing the 2 a to 2 p.m. thing. Boy, that does sound like it sucks. Glad you could join us, Brian. Hopefully you can be on more regularly week to week. So those of you who don't know or who are new here, every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, we do a live show. Sometimes we have guests. Sometimes we have presentations. Charlie's good at the fancy computer stuff. So we'll put together some of that. And then hobby or no. I think we need a hobby or no next week.
Yeah, we're about
It's
due,
been a
aren't
few
we?
weeks. So anybody who's got suggestions for hobby or no, we did a football one and we did a Star Wars one. So any suggestions on some, hey, let's rip a few packs and see if there's hobby in any of these cards, let us know. We'll try to, I think a Pokemon one would be cool. I don't know anything about Pokemon, so I'd fail at that really bad. And then a wrestling one would be cool.
Yeah.
Soccer one. There's a bunch of ones we can do yet. So
Yeah.
shout out. If you're in the chat here live, let us know what hobby or no you would like to.
No.
Or no. We're in like UP land, Minnesota/Michigan/Wisconsin, and we like the So when you're correcting yourself, you say, I think it was Saturday, or maybe it was Tuesday. That's what you do. So we're saying hobby no, there is no hobby. That's where that
Or you
comes from.
say,
For those
you
of you who don't
guys going to
understand
the
dialect.
draft tomorrow
Use
or
guys.
no?
Yeah. Did you get all your hairs cut? Did you get your hairs cut?
Or no?
Yeah. How long have you had your driver's license? I've had them for, this because it's a plural word, of course. Like license is not plural. It just has the S
Hey,
sound in it.
hey, don't go buy that. I'll borrow it to you.
Borrow it? Yeah, I'll borrow it to you. Yeah.
We always reverse that one. Instead of
Use
loaning it,
guys.
to people, we borrow it to them.
Use guys. That was always one of my favorites. All right,
Lofi
Lofi Joe is here.
Joe.
He's got some blue goats for us. I think our color is messed up on this thing tonight. Dan says, "What up, Ethan? Feels like yesterday we were all eating at the Quaker Steak and Lube." Yes,
Last National was so much fun. It was
It
kind of cool.
was.
Actually,
It was a good
going out
time.
a couple states away, running into someone that actually watches your guys' stuff,
yeah.
Wait,
having dinner with them. It was fun.
was that kind of
Dan?
like a backhanded little rip on us, Adam? He's like, actually
No, look.
running into someone that watches your stuff?
Well, I mean, come on, going to a couple states. I understand, like locally around here, dear guy,
Right.
but
Or no. So I expect Dan to be at the draft tomorrow because he just kind of like there'll be a cloud of smoke somewhere and Dan's just gonna walk out of there and be like, Dan, you took us to your steak and shake, quick lube place. We're gonna take you to Kroll's and get you some uh, you know,
Butterburgers
yeah, some butter burgers and some chili.
and cheese curds.
Who needs friends when we can get you an enema?
Okay. We had a debate at work the other day over who was the best cinematic or television Joker.
Well, the answer for me is obvious, but I'll let you guys chime in first because I can share why once I get that far.
I brought in a wild card because
Yeah.
we had a lot of people with the Jack Nicholson, which
Yeah.
is classic. But I brought in the kid from the TV series Gotham. I can't think of his name. He's on Shameless too.
Cameron,
Cameron Monaghy or something like that.
something like that. Yeah,
Mahogany.
no, I think it's a
Yeah.
wood.
Wood?
Oh,
What do you
So
think?
what are your votes?
personally, for me, I love Ledger, but my favorite is always going to be Mark Hamill. I grew up with the cartoons, the video games. He did the
Wow,
voice,
that's
so
just a
so
voice.
perfect.
That doesn't count.
He
No,
played him.
that totally counts.
That's a persona.
That totally
Voice
voiceover
acting
totally counts.
doesn't count.
But
It's still
there
acting.
is a character. It's just drawn. He's still still acting. For me, it's definitely Heath Ledger. I think that Batman struggled for many years cinematically before that film, and all the Jokers that came before him were not what they were supposed, what they could have been. They were more Jokers, right? The lighter side of the comic stylings, and I think he brought some real twisted, you know, acting to it. He really played the character. He got way into it, and unfortunately, I think it mixed with some other things he had going on, and he didn't really make it out alive. But um, yeah, when I go watch a Batman movie, that's the first one I pick. I just think it was so good. But now the reason I say I'm biased is because I met the whole cast. I was at a comic convention. They shot a lot of that movie in Chicago, and they happened to be shooting there during this comic convention. It was the old Wizard World. Do you remember Wizard World
I remember
conventions?
Wizard.
And it was kind of weird. We got into the convention early. I have friends who own comic shops and stuff, so we got in early. And all of a sudden, these guys from Warner Brothers come up to us. There's a group of like 4 or 5 of us come up to us. They got earpieces in, and they were all serious. And the guy handed us a flyer, and all it is, I actually have the flyer framed. It's in my movie theater, and it just says, "Be here at this date and this time, and no cameras allowed, no, blah blah blah, all this stuff." And we're like, okay, well, this seems kind of serious, and they seemed legit. They had Warner Brothers shirts on it.
Yeah.
So that was way early in the day. So we just kind of kept talking to people throughout the day, and many people did not have these. We got a wristband and all that stuff. Many people didn't have these, so we're like, well, what's going on? And then talk to some. I have a good friend of mine actually runs the official Superman fan club, which is kind of crazy. But anyway, I was talking to him. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going." He's like, "It's going to be this," and like he knew everything that was going on. I'm like, "Well, this guy's pretty legit, so I'm going to take his word over, some other people." So we showed up early. It was like 7 or 7:30 at night this was happening. So we had our whole day. We went back to the room, got food, all that. Came back, and then they had to just kind of line up in a hallway outside of the convention area,
Yeah.
and didn't tell us anything. They just said, if you have a phone, you need to get rid of it now, or we're going to take them from you. And this was early days of phones, so some of them didn't even have cameras in them. That's how old the phones were. But so they were like, "Does your phone have a camera? Does your phone have a camera?" Which sounds crazy to hear that now, but
2002 was the first phone with a camera in it.
that was yeah. This was like 1999. I don't remember when that movie even came out. This
Yeah.
months before the movie came out. But they gave us T-shirts, and they said you have to wear this T-shirt into this hall. So it was cool. It had the Batman Begins, logo and stuff on it, and then it said like October, whatever release date for the movie. And we're like, oh, this is really neat. So we all put these shirts on, and then they finally hustle us in. We didn't have signed seats or anything, so it was just kind of go in and try to grab seats as the best seats you could get. And we did that, and then all of a sudden, all the lights go out, and it was completely pitch black in there. There's no windows or anything in this room, and we're like, what the hell is going on? And all of a sudden, this black light comes on. We look down at, you could see on everybody's shirt, it just says ha 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 ha, in this black light printing, and you just hear the Joker's laugh, and then the lights come back on, and then it's Christopher Nolan, the director, and this like MC guy for Warner Brothers out on stage, and they were like, "Hey, we wanted to, we're in Chicago. We wanted to give you guys a sneak peek, so we got a special trailer." And every actor was there except Heath Ledger. He was the only one who didn't make it, which is unfortunate. Um, but yeah, Christian Bale, and I mean, all those guys were there, so it was pretty neat um, to be a part of that. So I think I'm slightly biased towards that film because of that experience.
I would just say don't sleep on the OG Cesar Romero.
Yeah, there you go. I think there's been a lot of good Jokers since, but I think to some degree you have to give Heath Ledger some credit for taking the Joker to that direction, because the Jokers you see now that we really appreciate are more that way.
Yeah.
But every Joker before that, I mean, even Jack Nicholson, his version was still kind of comic-y, you know,
Yeah.
and over the top and stuff. And the Penguin was always kind of like that in the movies. Riddler, I mean, you had what's his name played the Riddler?
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey. Jim
Yeah.
Carrey. I mean, like,
Yeah.
come on, that's a comedian that you're casting. So I liked that Batman movie because they took it to like a real place. You saw his parents get killed in front of him, and like it was gritty and dark and dirty, and um, so that to me really made it easy for the Joker to come in and be what Heath Ledger did with it.
Sure.
So anyway, long-winded answer, but that's what I do. If you're here and you expect me to not talk, you're in the wrong place. All right. Good day from Australia. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So it is like what, 5 p.m. tomorrow there right now or something like that? Where did we decide he's from? Is that Perth? Well, that was Perth, right? No,
He's from, well, he was like an hour from Perth, I think. He's
Perth,
from
yeah.
the southwestern part of Australia.
Right on. Well, welcome. Thanks for joining us again. We appreciate you. I see yellow. Okay, Dan. Okay. I don't see yellow. I don't. It looks really
That's
weird
what
on my
I
screen.
see
I don't know
too.
why.
It's a darkish yellow, but
Yeah.
I see yellow.
Yeah, it looks brown. Yeah, something's different. By the way, since we're talking about the ticker, check on the bottom here. If you want to support the channel at all, Patreon link is there. Otherwise, the Discord link that's coming by right now, you want to join that. That is our source for all things buying and selling cards on eBay. Hop on there. It's free to join, of course. We'll send you a nice welcome. Lots of good channels built to share your pickups, your sales, your frustrations, your tax questions, anything you want. It's all built in there. So join us. All right, Chile. All my out of state friends rip on me because I live in Ohio and I like Cincinnati chili. I like Cincinnati chili. I don't
I
have a
love
problem with
Cincinnati
that.
chili. It's my favorite type of chili.
Yeah, Skyline is the bomb. Ours
Well,
here,
I gotta correct that.
what?
My favorite type of chili is Texas barbecue chili, but it's made in Cincinnati style, and it's not soupy like our Midwestern chili.
See, I see chili as a topping, not a soup, and that's where Skyline comes in because it's the spaghetti base, and then you put the chili on top of it, and then you have the layer of onions, and then the cheese on top. So the chili is simply a topping to the spaghetti, really. So, but
Topping for spaghetti.
yep, correct. That's exactly right. Yeah, and then Kroll's is kind of like that, Dan.
Yeah.
It's more soupy for sure, like Charlie said, but there is a noodle option and things like that, and they don't do like a four-way where you'd have the onions and the cheese and all that on it, but um, the style of that chili, it's more like that than it is the barbecue style, like Charlie's talking about. I like that kind of chili too, Charlie. I'm actually not picky on chili. I like all of it because we make like a stew chili where we use like the chunks of meat and all the different kinds of beans and uh we make a more bulk chili when we're doing it at home. But
I just loaded up with
it's
oyster
obnoxious looking.
crackers.
Oyster crack, yeah, I like oyster crackers too.
Yeah.
I gotta turn us. There we go. How's that? Is that better? All right.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, so that's kind of, and the reason I say Kroll's is because it's literally across the street from the stadium. And when people come in from out of town, that's like one of those spots you kind of got to stop at.
It
They are
is.
going to be having their outdoor food trailers. Those are going to be open tomorrow, or through the weekend, I guess.
Right.
So I'm not exactly sure what they're going to sell. I would think chili would be one of their big items, but um, that
So
might be a lunch stop one day.
I think they were closing the main restaurant. I heard that because of the access, they were closing it. But I don't know if I
Correct.
think I heard they're having like the side thing with just a couple limited things.
Yes, they're gonna.
Yeah.
There's they have two like food truck trailers. Those are both gonna be open. I think one they're just gonna do like beer and soda stuff, like drinks, because they have like all their. I don't know if you've been there when they have the trailers there, but it's like all tappers. And then I think the
Yeah.
other trailer is probably just gonna be Butterburgers and chili would be my guess, because those are like their two things.
Yeah.
Maybe a cheese curd. They might have like something like that too, but because that's also a Wisconsin thing. But I mean, they have to sell something. They'd be giving up, $100,000 this weekend if they're not out there slinging burgers and chili. That
Right.
would be pretty foolish. But I suspect those will be the items. I guess we'll find out. I don't know. I mean, they said that the Milwaukee food truck group or whatever
Mhm.
is the one that are providing it, but it doesn't sound like there's that many food trucks. I don't know quite how they're
There's
gonna handle it.
there's more actually showing up now,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be like outside of the limits, so you'll have to step outside.
Okay.
I don't remember which prospect it was. It was one of the higher ones, but he actually convinced like chain Raising Canes to bring a truck up,
Oh,
and they're actually filming a commercial at the draft.
I would try Raising Cane. I've heard it's really good.
I want to say it was
Jenny and I
Warner
were
brought it up.
laughing because she'll have a tent in the surrounding area tomorrow, not in the pen of the draft, but just outside of it. And I guess a food truck will be right next to her. So she's like, this is going to be like torture all day.
Well, and then people are going to be kind of stuck in line for food, and they're going to talk to her about
Mhm.
stuff because they're there
Mhm.
and something to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they're a little more successful with the food truck and the supply and the wait times than the national was.
I was just gonna bring that up.
Because
Waiting 3 hours for a chicken sandwich was
yeah,
excessive.
because we had what, like 110,000 or so people at that convention,
I-
and there was not enough food trucks for sure, and they had a good amount, but
Mhm.
just didn't cover it. So
I mean,
hopefully they'll
I
do a little
didn't
better
have a
job of that.
problem getting a Yingling at 10 a.m.
Right, that's because you're Charlie and you're from Wisconsin, and they just all you have to do is hold your Wisconsin card up, and seas part and you can go right to the beer stand.
It is the breakfast of champions.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Right. Well, I was just
Yes.
trying to beat the lines.
You did. That you did. Scotty says, I think this is Scotty, isn't it? Sparkle? I think his name is Scotty. Anyway, if I'm wrong, correct me. The NBA playoffs are on. Have you seen an increase in NBA card sales? Yes, a little bit. Ja Morant stuff had picked up. I sold a couple of Giannis cards, although I think they got bounced or something already, didn't they? They didn't look too good.
Yet.
I think they only
One
played
more?
2 games so far.
Okay, so
Yeah.
but they lost them both, right?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Anyway, I had somebody buy Isaiah. Is it Isaiah Simmons? I think is his name. I just listed a bunch of color select cards the other day. So I had select silver, but it's the blue. You know, the retail select is has the blue background.
Yeah.
That one, the orange rain, which is like Megabox exclusive or something like that, and then the green and purple and whatever the white, green, purple, white. You know that tricolor one. It's kind of like the
Okay.
red, white, and blue for Prism. Anyway, I had all 3 versions of those. I listed all 3. I had a buyer buy all 3 of them. So not a player I would normally sell a lot of. So I feel like I've gotten a little bit more. I sold a bunch of LeBrons. I sold a bunch of Jordans. I sold a bunch of Kobe's. I sold a bunch of Shaq. You know, my regulars are selling and selling just as strong. But I don't branch too far out into the NBA. I just don't do a lot of it. I haven't had a huge ton of success with it, other than the big names. And honestly, it's hard enough to keep up with baseball and football and non-sport and all those things. So that I have a lot of success with. So I kind of just bring the basketball in when it's part of a deal, and I can add them in, for that reason. Uh, Definitely not like base rookies and stuff. I don't buy any of that. It would have to be color and or numbered or something. But anyway, to answer your actual question, yes, I feel like sales have picked up some on basketball. Oh, Luca too. I've sold more Luca. Uh, I think the Lakers have been doing really well, so I feel like that stuff will continue to boom. Lucas Sports Illustrated for Kids. I sold 2 more of those
Did
yesterday,
you?
I think. Yeah, first Laker card, man.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at $10 to $15 a piece on those, it's not bad.
Let's see here. It's 9:45 in Australia where
Oh,
he's
AM, AM. I thought it was
Yeah.
on PM there. Okay, you're not quite as far forward as I thought you were in time, but it's still tomorrow, so I did get that right.
It's Tomorrowland.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Giannis will be a Bull soon. I kind of I don't know about Bulls, but I kind of do believe that he'll be moving. So
Yeah, I think that's inevitable as well. Unfortunately, that is the nature of some of our smaller market teams. I think they were fortunate to keep Giannis as long as they did.
and I think they did because they won a title.
Mm-hmm.
I think if he was still sitting here without a title, you start going, how much career do I have left? I want this.
Yeah.
And he had won the MVP
Right.
twice, right? I think he
I
won it
believe
twice.
so.
So I think he felt like, okay, if I can give up, yeah, it's gonna be a couple million less than I would get somewhere else, but if I can give that up and we can keep a strong team, the success. I, some of these guys when they leave somewhere and they get like $3 million more to go somewhere else, but it's a crap team. I sometimes I think, is it really worth trading? Your potential success, with a team for $3 million. I mean, it's easy
Yeah.
for me to say, like, I don't have $3 million in front of my face. Like, that would be I can see where that is a tough thing to turn down, but the amount of money these guys get, and if you can have a long career, which most basketball players don't have a lot that, interrupts their career, with some minor exceptions, but most of them, if they're good, they play a long career. So I don't know. I kind of feel like I would want to play for a team that's gonna have some success and that I can be a part of that. Because do you play for the money? Sure, of course you do. But ultimately, these guys are where they are because they're competitive. You don't
Right.
get that you don't get that far without wanting to win and be a champion and get the rings and get the cups or whatever you're playing for. There's no way you would be that far without it. So I would think that, and it has been that way for some players where they'll give up some money to try to win a title. But I think at this point, Giannis feels like, okay, that opportunity is kind of gone now. Um, it's probably time to look for because there's a lot of teams who would want him and can pay him.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah.
He's still a Greek freak.
Still the Greek freak. Is his brother still on the team? Or
Yeah.
is he done?
I don't know.
Well, I think
I thought he got cut.
Well, depends on how you look at it. I think he was still up and down in the D League.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
What was I gonna say? He's hurt an awful lot these days too. Like
Yeah.
every season there's long stretches of time where he's hurt.
Yeah, it's really hard to be that big and that physical and not, you know. y- Earlier I said you can have a long career. That's true. Doesn't mean you play every game though.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Yeah, he can still walk, so he'll still go back out on the court. But how much court is he really going to get? If yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, I think it might be time for him to move. And honestly, maybe for the Bucks it is too, and they can try to rebuild something. With
Sure.
a younger, healthier player. Are you laughing at me?
It just reminds me of the Rodgers situation all over again.
Well, I think that in almost every sport on almost every team, if you have a star player, you kind of get to that point where you got to start
Yep.
making those decisions.
Yeah.
And the better these players are, the harder the decision it is. Not just because you want good players on your team, but your payroll. You still have to have a full team out there of mostly talented players, not just
Yeah.
one. And you have to go, okay, well, if I can cut all this money, I could get a couple of guys that I think could help us compete and cover the loss from that big player. But Charlie's right. Small market team, it's tough.
Yep. So Dan here says he won't be showing up to Green Bay. He's going camping tomorrow for the weekend, making some s'mores.
Sure, just like he told us he was going out back to his car, and he's out in front of us as we're walking to our car. I'm like, how did you even get here? We left before you.
That man just ninja vanished that entire weekend
If
after the show.
if he wants to take a hour break from camping tomorrow, he will poof make it happen, and we will find him. Just look for the brat smoke, and that's probably where we'll be.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Wazza!
What's that? True.
No, come on! You can't do this. You're never
was
going to be
that?
on this show ever again.
What was that
What was
scary
that?
movie?
No, Scary Movie ripped it off
Oh,
from the
come on.
Bud Light commercials.
That was Bud Light before Scary Movie?
Yeah. So it
Whoa.
was a Super Bowl. It was a series of Super Bowl commercials. This was back when you had a phone that was attached to a cord, okay, buddy? So you got a guy on a couch and somebody rings him up and he's like, "Hey, what's up? What are you doing?" "Nothing, nothing, nothing. Just chilling." "What's up?" And then the other guy gets on, and they're all doing the voices and
Oh
then he's like, "Yeah, I'm just taking it easy." True, true.
God.
Dude, if you got to watch those commercials. Charlie, can you bring that stuff up on a YouTube? Let's show
Yeah.
it.
Are you not worried about copyright stuff?
I don't know. It's a commercial. Does that
It's
matter?
fine.
It's just a commercial. I don't care.
I don't know.
Just
I
play
don't
it.
know. We are caught up on the chat. I will get you your
Yeah, let's do
your
it.
Budweiser commercial.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Gosh.
Now that you mention it, I'm gonna go monetize this video because I forgot to do that.
Oh,
You can entertain us for a minute.
how did you not do that before? Oh yeah, here I found the original.
Ooh.
Let's see if I can share this appropriately. And by appropriately, I mean, should I even share it?
I'm sure it was on TV. It was fine. Of course,
That was
90s.
fine. That was definitely
I think it was like
fine.
mid-90s, I want to say.
It
Do you remember the Budweiser frogs?
No.
Bud.
This may be before my time.
When they would go,
Why?
Budweiser.
Nope.
Yep. All right, we want audio with this. We're gonna
Oh, of
share it.
course.
Probably before you
You get the warning that says "Be careful."
End of '96.
Hello? Yeah, who? What's up?
Can you hear
Nothing,
it?
B. Just watching the game.
Oh yeah.
Having a bud. What's up with you? Nothing. Watching the game, having a bud. True. What's up? What's up?
Here it comes.
Yo, who's that? Yo, pick up the phone. Hello?
Everybody
What's up? What's up?
And they all got a cable on them.
Yo, where's Dookie? Yo, Dookie.
Yo, Dookie. Pick up the phone.
Yo. What's up? What's up? Hold on. Hello? So what's up, B? Watching the game, having a bud.
You cut off the true line.
Oh, sorry.
That's
I
at the
can't
end.
hear it on my end because I didn't want echo on the mic.
Oh.
Gotcha. Yeah, that commercial was. I mean, everybody at work, school, whatever, for months was doing. What's up? You know.
I don't. Yeah, that was way before me. I'll tell you that.
You gotta admit, it's pretty awesome though.
I mean, it would be pretty fun.
Uh-huh.
I'm fairly certain I've done that, in like an Xbox party. We all get together. We just start shouting things like that at each other.
No, just chilling, having a bud. True. It's good. It's good stuff. Anyway,
What do we got here? Dan added in. Then they come out with the wasabi.
wasabi. Do you have cue up the Bud Light frog commercial since we talked about
Oh,
that
boy.
one?
Oh, the
This one's good.
Budweiser frog commercial.
Bud.
You really got me
Bud.
digging
Wise
deep here
or-
today. That was one of my favorites.
Yeah, the Budweiser frogs were awesome.
Were these all Super Bowl commercials?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
So when they
every
were
year,
actually good.
but yes, correct. When
That's-
people actually watch TV and stuff, that was
That's why
that
you
was
would
important.
wait for it every year because it was always going to be must-see TV, and you never knew. I mean, you knew what ads to kind of expect, but you never knew how they would go.
correct.
Here we go.
Bud. Wines. Bud. Bud. Wines. Bud. Bud. Wines. Bud. Wines. Bud. Bud. Wines. Bud. Wines. Bud. Wines. Bud. Wines.
And then we got some Martha Stewart.
Yeah, I saw that. Yep, the Budweiser frogs, baby.
Classic.
You got to imagine, like, what kind of person, like, what do they go through to come up with something like that?
Well, okay, so a big part of advertising back then, you got to remember, you didn't get in front of people as much as you do now. Now it's like we see more ads now than we did on TV, and we thought the amount of commercials we saw back in the day was crazy, but it's not even
Yeah.
close. But you had to put these messages in these people's heads, right?
Yeah, subliminally.
So Budweiser, and then people kept doing it. So what did you have on your mind all day? Freaking Budweiser, and then what's up? That's weird. What is that? What are you guys doing? What is that from? Oh, that's this Budweiser commercial. We're doing this right now, for Pete's sake. We're advertising for Budweiser.
Almost
guarantee you
20
one of
years
these 18
later.
people in here went out
20 years
and they're
later.
I'm getting a case of Bud tomorrow.
It doesn't matter if they do or not. Like, we're gonna be walking around tomorrow and be like, I wonder if they have Bud anywhere. And I hate beer. I won't be drinking beer at all tomorrow, but it's in my brain now. So
They released the prices for everything for the Orlando prices.
$14 for a beer. I saw that.
$14 for a beer.
Yeah, $14.
16 for a Smirnoff.
Nope, I won't be getting that either. I was a big fan of the Ted Ferguson Bud Light Devil. I don't remember that one at all.
Yeah, I don't remember that one either.
No. I remember there was a dog that they used in commercials for a while, right? The Bud dog.
Spuds
Oh,
McKenzie
Spuds
for Bud
McKenzie.
Dry.
Spuds McKenzie.
Yeah.
I remember him. And he did all kinds of crazy stuff, but he always ended up with like pretty girls in bikinis at the end of the commercial.
I just said no, and I didn't even intend it.
No.
Spuds McKenzie was Bud Light.
Bud Light, yeah.
And then Bud Dry was Why Ask Why? Try Bud Dry.
Why? Try Bud Dry. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Budweiser's always been good at advertising.
I just found the Ted Ferguson Bud Light Daredevil.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
We're prepping ourselves for draft tomorrow. Let's have some Budweiser commercials.
Some Budweiser, huh?
And then we'll actually talk about cards.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Because I don't know if we got enough nonsense in yet.
Oh.
We might not have gotten our prerequisite nonsense in, right?
I don't know. We'll throw that one
We're
more
pretty
in.
close.
You
right.
might get that sponsorship for the next stream.
Yeah, Turd Ferguson, and then we'll move on.
Today for Bud Light, I'll attempt my most difficult stunt so far. I will stay 2 full minutes past 5 on a Friday.
Hey, Ted.
See you, Janice.
Hey, time.
Oh,
Get him up. Ted, get out. Ted, can you hear me? I need a Bud Light. Why don't you give us one, Ted?
Bud Light.
Always.
Okay, that's pretty solid.
Oh yeah.
That is pretty solid.
That's pretty good. I like that one. Yeah, that qualifies as successful. Yeah, and then of they were famous for their Christmas commercials too. They always had the
Clydesdales,
deer and deer and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
They've always done pretty well at advertising. I don't know how beer advertises anymore because there's no TV. I guess still sporting events.
Yeah.
It was probably their biggest market, but yeah, there was some pretty good Super Bowl commercials. They had a run for quite a few years there where there was really top-notch stuff.
Last couple of years, I can't say there's too many that really I recall.
No, nope, nothing to that extent for sure.
I probably remember the Left Shark halftime show more than any commercials.
Yeah, Left Shark, and then
the Mountain Dew, the weird one, like the Puppy Monkey Baby.
Puppy Monkey Baby.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the Gremlins Mountain Dew one was really good too.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, do you remember that one? That was on in the Super Bowl.
Sounds vaguely familiar.
All right, let's do it. Pull it up.
Super Bowl ads.
So what do we need? Gremlins?
I think it was Gremlins Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew.
I can't imagine there'd be too much.
Mountain Dew Zero Sugar Gremlins ad.
That's it. Put it.
And then there's
this recent?
I see two different ones.
Really?
Or the previous Super Bowl. One's probably like the full length, and one of them is like the summated commercial that they use for like the short spots.
Yeah, you're probably right. I'll cue it up here for you.
I'm usually right, Charlie.
You're usually right. I gotta skip the ad because I don't pay for YouTube. That's crazy.
Right. Same.
Oh gosh.
That's all I want.
Oh, it's Gizmo. It's Gizmo.
The ultimate gremlin.
Well, he's technically not a gremlin.
Well, fair enough.
He's a Mogwai.
You're right.
Mountain Dew Zero Sugar?
Yeah, it's Billy.
It is tasty. And just as good as the original, but without any sugar. Be careful.
Hey, Dad, Mom wants.
Okay, that one's really good.
Yep. That's probably my most favorite modern Super Bowl commercial. I like that one. Billy. And if you don't like Gremlins, there's no hope for you.
There's no hope for you.
There's no hope for you.
Well, that is a direction I did not anticipate the show going in tonight.
Me either, but that's what I like about our show.
Curveball.
You never know. Those of you watching this recorded, thanks for watching it. Try to join us live if you can. It's more fun. We get to chat, we get to talk, we get to wuzz up each other, and it's a lot of fun. So Wednesdays, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. Hit us up.
You can check out the banner below for our Discord and the Patreon.
There you go. All right, so let's talk some card ordeals in recent times. So Card Dealer Pro. Talked about this a little bit before we started the show tonight. So seems like there's some glitchy issues going on there.
There is. Speaking of that, it looks like I just went into the shadows. That's kind of freaky.
Yeah, I saw that too. I was like, I don't know if your dimmer went down or what. But
No, my lights didn't change. It's all just the automatic lens on my camera.
yeah,
Spooks, Ghost Inspectors.
crazy.
It's the gremlins.
Yeah, we were just talking about Gremlins. Damn foreign cars.
So what is the? By the way, also what is this Patrick Mahomes Panini thing? I didn't hear anything about that.
Sure. So that just came out today. Patrick Mahomes signed exclusive autograph rights to Panini, which I guess I don't understand the motivation of doing that now when all the licensed products. I suppose these guys don't care. They just take whatever's the biggest paycheck. But
Yeah.
Did they say for how long?
I don't know. I didn't read that far into it. I just saw that he signed an exclusive. I'm guessing usually it's like 2 years at a crack or so.
Okay.
So I'm guessing
Yeah.
that's what it is. But
Let me see. I grabbed that article earlier. Panini's 2025 just says his first collaboration with them since 2020.
Okay. He kinda
so
split off, did his own thing, because I know he was in wild card products for the last couple of years.
yep.
Was he in a different product before that?
I don't think so. Not for autographs. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, he's still active player. So
Yeah,
The-
he'll still be in
the NFL Players Association, trumps him as far as like getting into products.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
the auto part of it. So I don't know. I heard somebody talking about the other day, and this was before the Patrick Mahomes thing. They're like, you know what? Screw it. If I'll just go buy a cheap Panini autographed card by said player, and just take the autograph sticker off and put it on one of their licensed cards that I actually like. Like, you know what? That's not, if you don't care about like the value and stuff like that, you just want a nice card with an auto on it. It's not a terrible idea. I don't know if I do
Yeah.
that in Mahomes, it'd be cost you too much, but for some of these like exclusive guys like Bryce Young, I mean, you can get a Bryce Young auto for not much money. If you really like a Panini card and you pull his Topps auto, sure, pull the sticker off and put it on a Panini card.
There you go.
Throw it on your shelf. But ultimately, cards should still be collecting at its endpoint. So, hey, I don't have a problem with that. Now, don't sell it as an autographed card later on. But, anyway, it's just like a lot of people still do in-person autos.
Yeah.
We had somebody in our Discord post that really awesome photo of all the different Michael Irvin profile cards from
Yeah, that was cool.
Proline, all autographed. It took them forever to get each one signed. I thought that was really cool. I like that stuff. Ryan Sandberg, friend of mine, just sent a bunch of cards to Ryan Sandberg, and he signed them all for him for free. Sent them back. It's like, man, that's pretty cool. A Hall of Famer like that. Still takes the time and signs them, and
Absolutely.
I'm not as big about, look at it this way, right? So if I mail a card to Ryan Sandberg, he signs it and sends it back to me. If I pull a Ryan Sandberg auto out of a pack, it was just a pack of stickers he was sent, and he signed them and sent them back to Topps or wherever. So you're almost with the same result, right?
Right.
So yeah, he handled the sticker, but if I send him a card and he signs the card, he handled the card. Like I almost feel like that's a better auto. It's on card, all that kind of stuff. And it's you can say, well, yeah, but it's not, pack pulled and doesn't have tops on. Big deal. Send it to PSA and get it authenticated. You're in the same position as you were if it was pack pulled. You know? So I don't know. I feel a little bit differently about autos than some other people do. Because ultimately I feel like if you want the player's autograph, it's because you want to display it. Why else would you want it? Well, what does it add otherwise? Unless it's like a key card. If it's a you know, exquisite rookie patch auto of LeBron James autograph, well, that's a little different. That now
Right.
you're talking $500,000 card. But yeah, if you just like some player and you have them sign something, I think that's a great way to do it. And I think these exclusive deals make that even more a good option because now you're going to get Patrick Mahomes card autos on cards where they're not licensed. So, and I imagine it's going to make the products more expensive.
Would have to.
More than they already are for 99.
I would think so.
Yeesh.
I would think so. So
Because the whole reason you sign an exclusive contract to
unless you're
Patrick
going to make money,
Mahomes is to drive up demand and get that, chase going. And then when demand goes up, you raise your prices.
yep. So I don't know. I feel like it's a ploy for them to, or at least be able to keep their prices where they're at, even though it's unlicensed product.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how they see it is, okay, well, we didn't spend our money on the license, so let's buy this key player and we can still sell our Prism boxes for $900, whatever stupidness it is. And
Stupidness.
you get a 1 in 600 million box chance of pulling a Mahomes auto is their payoff, I guess. But I don't know. Sometimes I think about those too where they don't state specific odds and I'm like, how do I even know that they put any autos in the product?
You don't.
Maybe they only put one Mahomes auto in there. You don't know until everything gets ripped, and then it's like, where the hell are all these cards?
Yeah.
So I don't know. And then Mahomes autos, I mean, he's such a vet now that people mainly chase rookie autos.
Yeah, but he's also the GOAT right now of active
I
players.
get that. I get the long term part of it, but I'm like, somebody who wants to rip wax, football product in 2025 is looking for Shador and Travis Hunter. That's the stuff that's going to be more of the chase. I guess you're right, because if you look at Tom Brady autos coming back and being in Topps products, that was a chase.
Look at what Topps did with Barry Bonds this year, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good to see Barry Bonds. It's actually helped his card sales. I've sold way more Barry Bonds cards probably in the past 6 or 7 months than I have, in any other time doing this. I've actually been buying more Barry Bonds stuff because I've seen more market for it. I don't know if have you done a baseball liquidity lately?
No, I haven't done any. I'm probably 2 months from my last one now.
Because I'd be pretty curious to see if Bonds has been moving up the list at all for card sales. Because I feel like he has, at least in my store. No, I've been stocking more baseball too, so I naturally expect to see, some number increase from that. But
wonder where was he the last time I did a list, which would have been, the end of January was the last time I did a baseball list.
Yeah, baseball was a while ago because you've been doing a lot of other stuff.
Barry Bonds was number 40 on the list at that time, just above George Brett and a little bit under Ronald Acuna, Clayton Kershaw, Frank Thomas.
Okay. And he should be higher on that list.
Yeah. So I would guess
what he's done.
He's potentially up around that top 20 now.
Yeah, I would think so.
Well, let me see what his sales have been. Because back then, so that I was doing 3-week periods, I believe. And he had 3,076 sales in that 3-week period. I'll go ahead and pull the last 3 weeks and see what he's been doing.
I like it when you're on here, Charlie, because I don't do as much work. It's I host the show and you do all the work. It's funny.
Yep, that's the way it goes.
Uh,
Let's see here. Format.
I gotta put the frog on the screen.
Frog. Oh, we had Wolfie
Joe.
Joe's frog
Joe's
up
got
there
a frog.
before.
Yeah. Bud.
Trading card singles. We want to do a custom date. So we'll go through yesterday. 1, 2, 3.
I feel like he's got to at least be higher than 40.
We'll go back to like March.
Although there's a
20
lot of hot names in baseball right now. It's such a good young baseball lineups right now. And how about those Cubs?
How are they doing?
Get attention.
Crushing. Did you see that game the other night where they scored 16 runs in one inning between the two teams? It was the most ever in Major League Baseball.
I heard
history.
about it. I
Yeah.
didn't really see much of the coverage of it.
I heard the best headline I read about it was the Cubs were up big and then they weren't, and then they were up by a little bit and then they were down and then they came back and won anyway. That was literally the headline for
What a
the
roller coaster.
for
of
the
emotions.
and I was like, that is the perfect way to say it. Like, you don't need the numbers and all that. You just need yeah. So yeah, that was amazing. And then last night they won in the 10th against the Dodgers. I don't know why they're playing the Dodgers like 600 times in the last month, but they have been. They faced some tough competition. They had a 4-game set with the Padres, and they had 2 or 3 series already with the Dodgers, and so hopefully they'll get a few that they don't have to work as hard at, in the next couple weeks. We'll see. Brewers have been playing well too, though.
Brewers are an exciting young team.
I'm telling you, that Sal Frelick guy. He's pretty damn good.
Last year, I couldn't stand him a little bit just because he tried walking and could not walk worth
Mhm.
a dang. But this year, he's been very selective. He's been really good. And
He's been
them
he's been solid.
stealing.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Their stealing is crazy.
If the Cubs make the World Series, I hope Sheryl Crow sings the national anthem at one of the games. Pete's mom. Pete Crow Armstrong. His
No, I
mom
thought it
is
was Cheryl
Crow.
Armstrong.
We just
Um,
No,
discussed it at the
no,
fact that
no,
the
they're
Cubs
not
making
married
the
anymore.
series.
Huh?
We just
so
discussed it at the fact that the Cubs making the series.
Come on,
bonds cards are up, but not as much as we would have thought. 3,176 in the last 3 weeks. So that is only up 100 cards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like there's some momentum though, and I think people are still kind of getting the news that he's actually doing autos and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
now you mentioned George Brett, and I got this little peach out of
Nice.
a binder of vintage that I bought in a big collection this past week. So was not
Yeah.
expecting a George Brett rookie to come out of that. It's in pretty good shape, no creases or anything. Some soft corners and stuff, but
Of course, yeah.
color's pretty good. Centering is actually not too bad. Centering on the back is really good. A lot of the times the backs are way off.
Yeah.
We're off a little, left to right on here, but it's not the worst thing I've seen. So yeah, I was excited about that. I've never had a George Brett rookie card before. I might actually hang on to that one. We'll see.
There you
Market's
go.
pretty good for that card. So.
And Brett's got his followers anyway all the time.
Royals have a pretty solid fan base. I saw a lot of just like Royals cards. Like I'll have somebody coming in by like Brett Saberhagen and
He's a
You know-
Royals great, yeah.
of course you got Bobby Witt Jr. and then you've got Bo Jackson was there and then you've got George Brett and there's a couple other names that escape me right now, but Royal stuff does okay.
Yep.
For me. So Panini needed the Mahomes deal to stay relevant. A lot of people chase his auto and wild card. Yeah, exactly. We agree with you, Dan. I feel like it was kind of their last grasp at getting some sales. Um, once the tides turn here and they don't have the properties anymore, we'll see if it pans out for them or not. I don't think I'd be buying them. I'm not paying $900 for a Panini Prism box to chase a Mahomes auto. That's just.
Nope.
But I wouldn't buy it even if it was licensed, I guess.
Right.
So for me, those boxes are just crazy as it is. They need to bring some of that stuff back down to earth because it's just not worth it. So anyway, we talked about Mahomes. We talked about Car Dealer Pro having issues. I had issues. I couldn't do anything all day today. Their billing stuff was all screwed up.
Yeah.
Reached out to them and they couldn't fix it. So now it's going on to like big computer people that handle their stuff or handle their payment processing or whatever. My scans are supposed to renew tomorrow, so we'll see if that actually happens. I know it's been down here and there. I see the messages in the Discord. Hey, is anybody having trouble with Car Dealer Pro? And
Yeah.
I know you did too, Charlie. You said, yeah, I kind of did, so I gave up for tonight. I'll try tomorrow.
Yeah. When my scans renewed earlier this month, my account froze up. It happened on a weekend, and there wasn't as much support for it, of course. So, yeah, I lost a big chunk of time on a weekend waiting for it to be activated again. It was weird because it would say you need to renew your account, even though it's auto paid and it showed the deduction. And then I would click the thing because I'm like, I might even buy another, however many scans just to get through this.
Scans, yeah.
And then when I would click it, it would say you already have an active subscription. So it was an infinite loop.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm getting. I was out of scans, which I knew I was, but something weird happened last month where it changed my plan, and I was like, whatever, I'll keep this plan. It doesn't matter. And same as you, I was going to go in and buy 1,000 scans for $20, or whatever, and it would do like the running, trying to charge me thing. And then all of a sudden, it would go back to my main billing screen and just do this, like flash. I sent Charlie a video of it.
Yeah, that's
I'm
crazy.
like, what the heck? And then, so I'm like, fine, I'll just upgrade my plan then, and that'll give me the extra scan. So I went in to do that, and it would run, and then I would just get flashy screen. So I don't know, it's weird. I don't know why they have those kinds of issues, but and sometimes batches, I'll scan a batch and it won't find any of the cards. And
I mean, don't get me wrong. I still feel like overall things have been okay. But we were kind of spoiled there for a while with no issues. So just the fact that there are some cropping up now is a little unusual.
I agree.
But looking at their
I'm still a Car Dealer Pro guy, okay?
Yes. Looking at their news, I haven't seen anything about, new features they're working on. I know you get some betas sometimes. I don't think you have anything active going on with them right now.
Nope.
So it's curious because the behaviors we're seeing seem to indicate they're making some kind of major development changes, but no word on what that might be.
Sometimes with this kind of stuff, it can be third party too. It could be somebody that's, does developing in the background and that does something. It could be their payment processing. I think it's easy to simplify something and going, oh, this website has problems, therefore it's their problem. And any of us that works with computers on a regular basis knows there's other hands in the pot. When you have something as big as what
Dan doesn't like that when there's other hands in the pot.
Right. Leave me. That's my pot. He says. I'll show up when I'm ready. Poof, there he is. I don't know. It's crazy magic. He's Puff the Magic Dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that it's all things that they can get ironed out and we can get back on track. Maybe they're adding a bunch of new sets, that they're doing for scan. I don't know. But I feel like because I usually just leave the website up and logged in, for a day or two at a time, and I feel like a lot of times when I go in to do the next batch, it'll have a little message on there that says new version available.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'll have to click on that and then reload it and start the batch. I feel like I've been getting that a lot.
Yeah, that's pretty regular.
Once or twice a week at least. So
yeah, agreed.
There's definitely stuff that's being worked on, and I think I just hit a break somewhere in there that it screwed up my billing for whatever reason. Because that was the other thing. I went in. I have a card credit card saved on there, of course, because they
Mhm.
bill me monthly. And I went in there to check the card, and I thought, well, maybe there's something wrong with that. And I would click on the link, and it didn't have my card number in there. And I'm like, oh, well, maybe it deleted my card number. I'll put it back in. I put it back in, and then lo and behold, the card that I had saved in there before was there. So it didn't really it didn't need it. It
Right.
wasn't really doing anything clearly because I still never got anything to run. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I I'm hoping that we get a lot of this ironed out. Maybe we're getting a version 3.0 soon. And
Maybe.
that's kind of what they're working on because there was quite a change from 1.0 to 2.0.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and that was a big project. But have I heard anything? No, I haven't talked to Alex. I haven't gotten any beta stuff, nothing like that.
Yeah.
So we just kind of got to
So
wade through it.
how are you doing with your scanning with 2 stores now? I sense you've got your hands full trying to beef up that other store now, and you got a big collection. Are we getting to that point where we got to start thinking about, getting our own scanners?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's tough to say because I feel like still a good portion of the stuff I have I don't scan.
Okay.
Even with the non-sport, like I bought all the Kakawau stuff, right? So you got the Warner Brothers stuff, and then you got the Disney 100. None of those can be scanned; they're too thick. The
Yeah.
Disney 100 and the others are
Yeah.
chrome.
Yeah.
Um, and I did just like I said, bought two good sized collections in this past week, and a lot of this is scannable non-sport stuff. So I got a bunch of
Mhm.
Star Trek stuff here. Um, got some GI Joe. I got some the Nintendo stuff.
Yep.
Um, that stuff's all scannable, but then there's stacks of Chrome Star Wars, and or the tall boy cards. There's a lot of
Yeah.
wide vision stuff out there in non-sport. So I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. It feels like it's getting closer, but priority number one, Charlie, is new laptop. So that's where I'm going next.
I feel like we've been hearing that for a while.
I know, but you'll see when we get together with our goat show meeting. We've got a plan for that, but
Yeah.
um, and Luna's going to be doing school from home next year, so she's going to need a laptop. So I'm probably going to give her my old laptop or my current laptop. So
Yeah.
there's things that need to happen. Um, but I kind of want to do that and get that set up and ready to go and working right.
Yeah.
Before adding another scanner. But
Yeah.
I also feel like it could affect my discipline because it's so much easier to just scan stuff. And I'll just be like, oh, I'll just
Yeah.
scan this, I'll just scan this, I'll just scan this, and then never really get to much of the. I have way more shiny stuff to put in than I do scannable stuff,
Yeah. Mhm.
and it just feels like it doesn't take as much. Obviously, I've got the new hotness in front of me. I'll list that, but some of that older, Chrome stuff and that's kind of fringy liquidity to it.
Yeah.
I just feel like I might push that off even more. If I just have a scanner I can keep ripping through.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
I just use my scans every month. It's not like I have a shit ton of scans left over. And that's part of it too. Like, how many scans do I really want to do in a month?
more.
More, right? More. Yeah, I have to do
That's
some, and
easy.
I'm happy we do some, but I don't know. I don't. I don't.
So I just think back to, a few months ago, you were, maybe more than a couple months ago, we were talking about where you were at on the first store, and you weren't quite on the precipice of maxing that out, but you were close enough to be talking about it. And I know there was some talk about, sometimes we talk and we'd say, I don't feel that pressure to get cards out there quite as much as I used to because I've got almost 60,000, right? But then you open the second store, and now I think you've renewed that push to fill that non-sports store, and you're
Absolutely.
not taking the time off that maybe you thought you were going to take.
Yeah, obviously I'm still in, that building and growth mode heavily.
Yeah.
Especially once you commit to the store, you have a monthly cost to the store. So you want to make
Yeah.
sure you're selling enough to warrant that cost.
Yeah.
Breaking news.
We've got some breaking news. Hold on, let me just finish what I was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel the pressure like I did the first store where it's like, oh, I gotta sit down and I gotta pump, I gotta get this thing, I gotta just fill this up. I feel like I can still kind of do it a bit more on my own time and my own demand, but yeah, I want a robust non-sport store and I'm having a lot of
Yeah.
fun with it. And I've been able to find more than I have in the past because we've opened a lot of our own dealers locally up to it. And, I'm buying non-sport chunks of collections that others have bought.
Yeah.
Basically my non-sport, accumulations have come from the national for the last few years.
Yeah.
And then a few things I would buy, on eBay here and there, sets, stuff like that, inserts, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, Goonies, big stacks of Goonies cards.
Yeah.
But now
Don't
it
want to talk about
feels
that.
it feels like there's more presented to me, more opportunities, gaming cards, things like that.
Yeah. Because
Um,
for me,
so I don't
I
know.
mean,
We'll see.
being part time, I'm still good with the rotation, and because of the different way I do things, like before I hand it off to you, these are all scanned. All I got to do whenever I sit down on my computer is I just run these through Card Dealer Pro. And I kind of use the SKU system. I've got a number on each of these, so I know what bag I'm scanning through, so I can pull them out and put them into my listings as I run them through CDP.
Yeah, and if I was a little bit more limited on time like you, I would definitely, come up with a process like that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I rip it through, I put it in the bag, and I'm done with it.
Yeah,
The
you
days
like that start to completion on everything.
correct, I do, yes.
Yeah.
Less errors that way, I feel. And then, when I don't have the scanner, I've got my stacks of, kind of prioritizing non-scannable cards, and I just kind of keep photographing through them and listing them and moving on. But one of
Right.
the things that has surprised me a little bit since I focused, started the second store and had some focus on that is how much I still need to list in the first store just to keep it full.
Right.
It's like, now today I hardly listed anything in there because I was gonna do some scanning stuff and I was doing stuff with the non-sports store when I couldn't get Card Dealer Pro to work, and it's like I'm under like 59,200 now, so I have like 800 I can put in just to max out. Um, so yeah, it feels like I have to chase that yet too to some
Yeah.
degree. Now I have 59,000 listings. It's not like I have to stay up all night and make sure I get those 800 in there. It's really going to make that difference. But you want to keep it as full. Remember, you're paying that monthly fee regardless of whether or not you have 10 listings or 60,000 listings. So
Right.
the most value you're going to get for your monthly subscription is, if you have 60,000 listings and it's $60 for the month, you're paying a penny for the
Mhm.
listing. That's pretty darn good. If you have 10,000 listings, you're paying 6 cents.
Right.
So that matters, in my opinion, especially not every card sells in that first month. So you're going to be paying that 6 cents for, maybe 5, 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, 2 years.
Forever.
Well, hopefully not. Hopefully you take them down or they sell before then. But we just got a Panini update. Breaking news here Sports Card Investor posted it, but it's information from Panini. Agents have confirmed that Panini's autograph deals with Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, and Patrick Mahomes will expire on March 31st, 2026, the day before Topps officially takes over licensing.
Okay.
So they're only going to have it while they still have licensed products. While Topps has not confirmed it will acquire those autograph deals, the timing of Panini's contract expirations strongly suggests Topps will at least attempt to secure these athletes' autographs for its officially licensed cards.
Yeah.
So there you go. That makes more sense.
We also have breaking news that Chicago Bears great Steve Mongo McMichael has passed away.
Yeah, I saw that before the show. Yeah, that's
Mm.
that's unfortunate. I don't know how old he was, but I don't think he was that old.
I'm gonna say like
mean-
67. Yeah, 67.
Because I remember watching him play, when I was a kid. So, yeah, that's too bad.
And after football, he got in the ring and he wrestled for a number of years too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what did it.
Oh, it was the wrestling, was it?
Those wrestlers, they don't last very
Wrestlers.
long.
Yeah.
Wrestlers expire. Don't get me started with working with multiple companies to troubleshoot an issue in my company experience. Yeah, exactly. I think that's just the way it works. Like you can't, depending on how robust your online services are, it'd be hard to take it all on your own.
Yeah.
So even support, for most companies is not actually done by the company. It's done by some company they hire to provide the support.
Yeah, that's true.
I knew this was going to happen. Max says, I can't believe you guys haven't gotten a second scanner yet. Yeah, and trust me, it's crossed my mind. I've talked to my wife about it and stuff. I mean, it's like money wise to buy, all that stuff is fine. I look at it like I think it's nice for us because you and I get to exchange some time. Where sometimes maybe for a few weeks we wouldn't get to see each other.
Yeah.
Most of the time we can make our trade and it's not really an inconvenience. It's like, oh, we're having dinner or oh, we're gonna be at a show together. Okay, I'll bring the scanner. So
Right.
that hasn't been too much of a hassle. Yeah, there are times where it's like, oh, I'll drop it off or I'll whatever. But for the most part, and I feel like you get your scans in, right?
Mhm.
That you have allotted for the month. I get my scans in without, much to spare.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what else? If that scanner just sits there for 2 weeks instead of going to Charlie for 2 weeks, what is that benefit?
Right.
And I worry more. I like listing. I know listing is like the bane of most resellers' existence. I don't mind listing. I like some of that kind of monotonous flow that you can get into with that. But I do worry that it's just so easy to scan batches that I'm just gonna keep ripping all my scan stuff, and then my shiny stuff's gonna sit there.
Yeah.
And I really don't want that. So
I
it kind of makes a natural change for me. Okay, well, the scanner's going back to Charlie. All right, let's grab our stacks of Chrome stuff, and we'll work on those.
I agree with that. I end up feeling that same thing. Like, oh, I guess it's time to, do some shiny stuff for 2 weeks. Because when I have the scanner, I'm constantly digging out the plain stuff so I can maximize the time with the scanner. And then I hardly do any shiny stuff when I've got the scanner.
Yeah, and I mostly even when I buy like I just bought this collection, I mostly take it. Sorry,
You're good.
I forget we're attached here. I mostly take it and split it into two lots. So I have, all my shiny stuff goes into one box, and all
Yep.
my, matte stuff or scannable stuff goes into another box. So when it's scan time, I just start grabbing
Yep,
stacks
I
out of
do the
there and
same.
going. And yeah, when it's shiny time, I grab a stack of shiny stuff and I do. So I like my flow. Not that I couldn't do that with, my own scanner sitting there, but they're also not super cheap. Like it's not, we're not talking $10. Like if it was 10
Right.
bucks, so yeah, I'll just buy one, or even $50. Like we would never share our thermal printers or, something
Yeah.
like that. But when you're talking $800-900, it's like,
Yeah, I see the
if there's-
prices are up with the tariffs there. I
Yeah,
think I saw
yeah.
Card Dealer Pro was like $972 for the 8170 now.
980, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, even my referral link, which is in my videos to purchase a scanner. Same thing. I clicked on there the other day. My envelopes jumped too, so I got to try to find another envelope source, and I'm just afraid that that's all just going to be up too. But I don't feel like there'd be enough to gain by spending another $1,000 on a scanner.
Yeah.
At this point, I don't know how you feel, and at some point, if you get tired of me and you're like, dude, I'm not bringing you the scanner. Get your own damn scanner. We'll figure that out. We work together well. But I don't feel like either of us has kind of been like, we really need to get another scanner. We really need to,
No, and it
So-
works good for me with my part-time, allocation of time. So
Mhm.
I'm still on the 1100 scan plan, and I don't really have to buy extra scans yet. So
Yeah.
I'm doing fine with the split, but I just figured it's probably getting a little harder for you when you go back into that growth mode in that non-sports store.
Well, and the thing is, let's say you go full time, right? And you go, well, I'll have more scans then. Yeah, but you'll have more time to scan, so you'll still get your scans done in the 2 weeks.
Yeah,
You'll just be doing more of them because you have more time to do it.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I don't know, and I think it's kind of fun. Plus it frustrates people that we share something, so I like that. That's fun for me. Um, you share something? Yeah, we do. Well, believe it or not, that's something I learned in first grade, and it still applies to me in my world. I feel like I like sharing stuff with people. Um, I think that's good. I think it's good for the your humanitarian side, and good for your budget.
yeah,
Sometimes I like it when the scanner is gone because I have that whole space where the scanner normally sits. And I'd be like, great, I'm gonna move stuff over there so I can get
yep,
this put away and I can work on that. So it just kind of takes something out of the office. The other thing is, I like it. It also forces me to clean it.
yeah,
Forces me to check the connections on the the wiring, the power source and stuff like that. Make sure those are still good. I try to clean up the ends of the plugs where it plugs into the
yeah,
power box. We clean the rollers. You and I are kind of in a routine. Okay, well, when you're done with the scanner, you clean it, and bring it to the next guy. Um, so how I optimize to take it apart and clean it when it's just sitting there.
yeah, mhm,
Probably not as much, and until I see lines, it's not really gonna kick in. So
yeah.
I feel like the care process, moving it back and forth constantly, plugging and unplugging it. I, I don't know if that's a negative to it. Maybe potentially something could happen, but we pack it really well. We still have the original box, all the original styrofoam. Surprisingly, it packs in pretty easily.
It
I've gotten
does, yeah,
down. We have all of our wipes are just in the bottom of the box, so you just grab a wipe, when it's your turn and clean it up, and then put it back in the box. And yeah, works pretty well.
It's funny you talked about getting some room back because I had the same feeling today when I sat down and I got home at my table here and I'm like, oh, I have, a quarter of my table back. And I can use that space when I'm, processing cards, sorting them and things like that. So it is nice to kind of send it back and forth. And like you said, it packs so easy. It's really no problem. And the nature of the scanner is you need it in an open place. You're not really having to dig it out of a corner or something like that, right? So it's 5 minutes, you pack it up and you're out the door. So
Yeah, it's I've done it so many times now that I don't even really think about it much. Usually you're like, "Hey, how are you on your scans? Can I pick it up tomorrow?" "Yeah, okay." "Oh, I'll be over by," because we live on 2 opposite sides of town, but I'll say, "Hey, I'll be over on the east side doing this. I can drop it off." "Great, I'll do." Or like I said, we have shared events. We'll trade it at the goat show, or we'll trade it at another show
yeah.
we're doing, or
The
we're
only
having
extra
dinner
time
or
we
something like
spend
that.
is when one of us forgets the cables.
Yeah, that's true. I did do that once. Not cable, half of it. The power cord is actually 2 pieces just to kind of give people.
Yeah.
And so I grabbed the power cord, not thinking I unplugged both parts. I left the other part plugged into the wall, and I just had the power box part of the cord, and yeah, that doesn't work. Turns out you need all of it so you can plug it into the wall, and
Who would have thought?
yeah, who would have thought? So yes, I did have to run back and pick it back up, but
I'm sure I'll do
surprisingly,
it at some point too.
yeah, I was just gonna say, surprisingly, after all of our exchanges, excuse me, that's about the only time that it didn't really work out so well. But
Yeah.
eh. Luckily, that was the day we were ripping cards, wasn't it? So it didn't really matter, or maybe it wasn't.
I don't recall.
But anyway, it was something where it was like, no big deal. I'll just run home and get it. So it
Yeah.
didn't really put us out too far. But yeah, I would assume at some point, you know, getting our own scanners might be something that will happen. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Just scanning and listing large quantities of stuff doesn't guarantee you more success or more,
Yeah.
more sales either. So I don't just sit here and scan all day. I also pull cards and I ship them and I do, you know, some accounting stuff, and then I'll do some plans for videos, or, research some things that I want to look into to improve my business, look at different ways I can do pictures, and I know you're the same way. You come up with
Yeah.
stuff like that too. So it's like it's not like I just sit here and scan for 8 hours in a day. That's a very small piece of it. I shouldn't say very small, but it's a smaller piece than you think it is,
Yeah.
even at my scale. So there, I mean, Mondays, forget it. Mondays are just pulling. You guys have seen my towers. Um, Mondays are just pulling cards and shipping. So it doesn't matter. I could have 5 scanners plugged in here and no scanning is going to happen.
Yeah.
Because that's just a day to, process, uh, orders, and just run the business, not add to the inventory. But
Well, Keith All is here. He says, "What's up, fellas? Currently uploading a new vid, but watching the live on Xbox. Figured I'd say what's up."
what's up? True. I just unplugged you.
Yeah.
True. Um, yeah, it's now I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, Keith was working on a video. I was gonna say something about that. Yeah, I'm finding less and less available time to do that. Just so busy with with my daughter being home now, and then just running 2 stores. I mean, I have my 2 devices, but it's like shuffling between 2 of those, and then uh listing, and yeah, it just YouTube is just not a big part of it anymore.
Backseat.
When I was making a lot of videos, didn't have that many sales. Even when I was part time, it was still pulling 10, 15 cards a day, big deal. But now when it's hundreds at a time, it's a little bit tougher. So good on you, Keith. Keep videos coming. I really want to do more. I started a video this morning and I was never able to get it done. So maybe I'll try to finish it yet tonight. I don't know. We'll see. Tomorrow, these next couple days should be pretty easy because it's just going to be me walking around at NFL draft, and you're going to get whatever you get on those videos, and I'll record until my camera dies, and then I'll wait till the next day and film again. That's my plan right now. So I'll definitely have some more videos up in the next couple days, but I don't really have. I think what challenges me right now is I don't know what to make for content. Like I early on, it was how to pack cards, how to list on eBay faster, things like that. And it's like I haven't really revolutionized any of that.
Yeah.
It's kind of functions the way I want it to function for the most part. So what do I make a video on? I don't want to make it on, card news or shocking stories or scams, or that's not how what I want my channel to be. Um yeah, sales day videos and stuff,
Mhm.
but I don't know that I want to do that every day or that anybody wants to watch that every day either. So, yeah, that's something that I got to think about. What's some is there another content that I really want to make that would be consistent, or do I just make you know kind of random videos like I'm doing right now? We'll
Yeah.
see. I noticed you've kind of stepped back a bit from making a lot of videos too.
Yeah, I kind of go in bunches. Like once I make one, then I want to make a couple more. But then once I get away from it for a while, life comes up and I don't make one every week, then it seems like it takes a few weeks for me to get back into it again.
Yeah, and it's more work than people think for
Yeah.
not a lot of money besides. I need a paycheck too. Like I do this for a living, so I can't just go, well, I'm just gonna make a video today instead. Like that doesn't, you know, it's a decent sized one person business at this point. I have to really put my time and efforts into that. And the
Yeah.
videos is the first thing that has to kind of get put to the side because it's not really part of it. And then I feel like, well, is am I kicking myself in the butt that way? But is that what's keeping me from like eBay Live approving me or something like that? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I can't really think about that. I have to think about what's in front of me right now today and what is my what the hardest thing when you're self-employed is okay. You get up at whatever time you get up at, and you go, this is what needs to get done today. How do you decide that? Like, no one's going to tell you that, and you for operation wise, you kind of have to. I sort of make a priority list, right? Like
Right.
today, I got to do these listings. Monday, I got to do this shipping. Each day kind of has its priority list, and I sort of work down that. Okay, Monday orders come first because I'll have so many. Great. So I work on that. Great. I got all my orders done. What's next on my priority list? All right, email this, file these claims, or whatever task may be next. Great. I'll do that. Okay, this, update this accounting thing or do listings or whatever. Um, that's kind of how I do it, and just YouTube just kind of keeps getting stuck down here.
Yeah, same. You got to go through a prioritization exercise. I know for me, the office has been growing into a lot of 10-hour days lately. The weather's getting nice. The kids want to go outside, and they're getting into baseball now, so they want dad to hit them some baseballs and play catch with them. And I know that doesn't last forever, so I that moves up my prioritization list. And for the business, it becomes shipping and listing first. Everything else comes after family, right? Well, family really comes before shipping and listing too. But the things that I'm talking about are the optional pieces. Like, do I go outside and play ball for a while? Or do I make a video, another liquidity list, which is going to take up the 3 hours I have available for that night, or I can go out and enjoy some time with my kids while they still want to do that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, I agree that the kid thing's a game change. I'm coaching soccer this year, so I've got
Yeah.
very quickly here. I'm gonna have practices twice a week, and then we're gonna have games, and then we've got a tournament one weekend, and then we've got like
Yep.
a player development day on a weekend, and it's like YouTube can't be put before any of that, especially since I'm coaching now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it I don't know. I think my content's gonna be sales day videos once in a while when I feel like I got the time and there's some decent sales to show in a video. Because I think I've made so many of them. I think you guys know what I buy and sell, and
Yeah.
I'm fairly consistent with that. I don't know how many of those you really need. So um, I'd like to do more. I wanted to do a video of buying this from these two dealers this past week, but they didn't want to be on camera. So I was like, okay, well that kind of takes that away.
Yeah.
Um, So I don't know. It just feels like and that's hard to do. Like you're trying to relate to somebody and look through their stuff, and I'm trying to work grabbing cards. Show videos, we're okay for a while, and now they're just like dead. Nobody wants to watch those. Where you just go through a show and find boxes and dig them, and pickup videos don't do that well, as much as they used to. So I don't know. I don't know what the content direction needs to be.
Yeah.
But I think that keeps me from being motivated to push YouTube up the priority list as well. So we'll see. But that's the thing with something like this. When I started doing this, you know, before eBay standard envelope, this wasn't like a viable just sell low dollar singles wasn't really a viable business model. Um, on eBay. I guess Whatnot kind of made it that way right away. If you want to do live selling, but eBay wasn't. And so then it was like, okay, I'm going to start this channel and kind of build what this could be. And that was great. It gave me a lot of content to drive to that. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Max?
write it off on your
Yeah.
taxes, and it's much cheaper. Well, kind of cheaper.
Kind of
Like,
cheaper.
yeah, I mean, a write off is not as it's not like straight dollar for dollar. It's not like I get $900 off on my taxes.
Do you even know what a write-off means?
Yeah, sure do. I've been doing that for years and years. That's the only way you can survive is to do that. But
That's
um,
a local commercial around here where they rip off the Seinfeld episode.
Mhm.
We'll just write it off.
write it off. Yeah, my bigger expense this year is definitely the laptop. I don't have a choice now. I have to get a new one. I mean, kind of waddled my way through it here for the last few months. Uh, after talking about getting one now I really have to do that. So that's going to be the next step, and then yeah, maybe another scanner comes down the road. We'll see. But I don't see much gain to doing it right now. I feel like it's just $900 out the door for the minor inconvenience we have once or twice a month where we trade
Yeah.
the thing. So
Jordan says, "Tell him, Max."
yes, Max will. I have
Yeah.
no doubt.
Yeah. And Max is right here too. It'd really only be about half the full purchase cost because we've already split this one, so one would buy out the other
Right.
and give you the capital for the next purchase. So
Right. Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, for moving the money around. Yep.
yeah. Sharing is for the weak, says Max.
Yeah, I mean, depends on what it is, but yeah, I guess you have a point there. I think sharing is good. I still like that. I still like that preschool, kindergarten principle of you got to learn to share. There's only so much space for all of us. We got to be able to share a little bit.
Jordan wants to work out a swap with Max from California.
Well, that's a ways away, so that would be quite a swap.
Gonna have
that's
to
the other
add some more time into that.
that's the other thing too. We're at an advantage. I don't think most people would be close enough to even share a scanner. We're a few
that's
miles
good.
apart.
Yeah.
We're a river apart basically. So what's the big deal? It's not that hard to swap it out.
Yeah. Dan's still in here.
Yeah, waiting for the day when I take a pic and AI will automatically create the listing for me. I maybe I sometimes with that stuff I kind of think about, okay, well, how much are they going to charge me to do it?
Yeah.
What's the fee rate going up when they do the AI part of I don't know. Yeah, you're not wrong. Anything that makes listing easier is great. It's a time saver, but it also increases competition. So one of the reasons we have so many low end sellers now is because you can just scan stuff in. You didn't have people selling 1988 tops, base junk wax stuff because it wasn't worth your time to list it. Now it's like, well, it's just in my batch with all my other stuff. I'll just list it and see if I can get a sale. So you're starting to see, the more and more people move to the high speed listing, you just got more people with listings. Then you're spending on the other side. So now you got to pay for promotions and you got to do these other things in order to, try to get your leg up on the competition.
Yeah.
There's sometimes where I look at certain cards that sell and I'm like, well, why did these cards sell and these didn't sell? And sometimes the result is those are shiny and those aren't. And
Yeah.
it's not necessarily because the shiny is more attractive, although sometimes it's the case. It's because I took the time to list it, whereas the scanner guy wasn't going to do that.
Yep. That's true.
I love sleeping in till 10. Wow. At 10 o'clock, that's the 6th hour of my workday. So you're getting up at the time that I'm just about ready to, fold it in for my morning
Take a nap.
session. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's one of the things I really like about my work schedule. I'm an early riser, so I'll get up at 4 o'clock. I'll come down, work for a few hours, but then it gives me all this awesome time during the day where I can, make grocery runs or go see a movie or, you know, do something with my kid or, help my wife with something, go to the card shop and talk to those guys for an hour and hang out.
Yeah.
It's I like that part. Work days are like, to me, the structure is so stupid. It's okay, let's go to work at 8 and we'll all get done at 5. And I don't know, it just doesn't it seems like there's just that's too much of the meat of the day. Like you can't do that much in the morning because you got to be to work at 8. Then you get home at 5:30 or 6 when you drive home from work. Now you only got a couple hours before your kids going to bed. It just feels like it's too I feel like you gotta try to find some hours in there where everybody else isn't doing something, and you can get your stuff done, and then you can just go hang out and do what you want. If I wanted to golf every day, to some degree, I probably could because I work enough hours in the morning where I could take 3, 4 hours in the afternoon and go do something like that, and I love that part. That works really well for me, and then
Yeah.
that keeps me from working a lot at night, which is most of the time I can spend with my daughter, so um, I don't wanna work at 8 o'clock at night, I wanna get up at 4 and work, so, those aren't my work hours. Yeah, you have to kind of figure your own structure for that stuff, and I like to get up at 4. There's lots of people who do not wanna do that, and that's fine. I know Charlie sometimes will even after the show here, he'll stay up for another hour or 2 and do listening because it's
Mhm.
quiet at home, his kids are sleeping, so he's not gonna be spending any time with them, his wife's sleeping, whatever.
Mhm.
Great time to put in a little bit of your work hours. Um,
Yep.
so I wish more jobs had options like that. Like why do you have
Right.
to be there from 8 to 5? Like why? Why can't you work from like midnight till 3 a.m. and then sleep for a few hours and get up, have a nice lunch and then work from like 2 in the afternoon till 6? Like, why isn't that an option? Yeah, if you have operating hours, like you're a store and you're gonna be open in these certain sure, that's different. But if you're just like a guy who works at a computer or something, why do you have to work 8 to 5? I don't know. Anyway, just some thoughts on the corporate structure that I disagree with. That and dress codes. Dress codes have driven me nuts
Oh my gosh.
ever
Yeah.
since I was a Catholic schoolboy, in first grade. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing ever to tell everybody what to wear.
Our our stuff was always crazy back in the day because our CEO was a real down to earth guy who wore jeans to work every day to represent the working man essentially. And some of the work we do is boots on the ground out there in the communities every day. But yet in the office, the rest of the leadership executive team said, no, 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 you got to be wearing khakis and a collared shirt every day.
Yeah, it seems like the corporate culture is let's take all individuality out of everything. We're all just going to be this
Yeah.
one thing. Talk about defeatism, and most people will put up with that for so long, and then after a while, they just want to revolt because they're like, I'm
Yeah.
tired of you telling me what pants to wear.
Yep.
I mean, I'm 30 something years old now, and I have to keep buying the same damn pair of pants at Walmart because
Mm-hmm.
you won't let me try something different. So yeah,
Yep.
a lot of that is squashed from where it used to be. I mean, now it's like work casual, business casual everywhere. And I can remember when I started in banking, I started as a teller when I was 17. I had to take my earring out every day. I wasn't allowed to wear an earring.
Yeah. Mhm.
I mean, isn't that crazy? Now you have like, I go into the bank and there's tellers with like tattoos all the way up their arms and
Yeah.
funky colored hair and a ring pierced here. And I'm like, okay, I guess we just don't care about that anymore. It was
Yep.
so important back then, but now it doesn't. I don't know. It's progression is interesting that way.
It is. Jordan wants to know if you would still start selling full time if you were to start over today on day one.
Would I?
Yeah.
Are they okay? I don't know if he was asking, do you want to go full time? Sure. Why wouldn't I? I mean, it's kind of a dream job. I wish, and I was telling Ethan that a little bit this last time he was here. I kind of wish I would have waited a little bit longer. Like I I felt like, okay, sometimes you just got to cut the cord and then, but I felt like I could have been built up a little bit more, provided myself a little bit more resources before I went full time. But the way I looked at it was, if I do this now, I'll have all this time and I can just build it that much faster, which to some degree I'm sure I did. Everything's hindsight. Like, I don't know how far I'd be if I was still working full time, right?
Yeah.
Um, like working, not this. I'm working. So don't get it twisted. That's one of the other things that's a problem in America is we put down people who are self-employed. I don't get that. That's weird. Like, oh, you don't have a job? No, I own my own business, That should be celebrated, but anyway, that's a whole other argument. But I feel like this is what I wanted to do. I felt like I could be successful at it. I was building something. There's a lot more to do. And I can give myself a pay raise regularly, which you're not going to get at a lot of jobs. Normally you have to maybe get a decent starting wage, but then you constantly have to fight to try to get somewhere. Or the only time you get a real raise if you get a promotion. Well, great, I got a raise, but now I got more responsibility, you know. So I'm still trading my efforts for the same money essentially, because your additional money equals my additional work. So yeah, I mean but I'm fortunate. My wife has our health insurance and our dental insurance, which I need tomorrow. Um, so you have to kind of look at where you're really at and what you want to do. I'm also not 21 years old. I've been in a house for a while. My house payment's very reasonable. Yeah, I don't. My cars are paid. Stuff like that. Where I'm in a good spot to try to do that. Um, I have a lot of work experience, so if I really wanted to go back into the work world, I'm sure I could get a job pretty easily at a bank I feel like there's still prospects if this isn't what I wanted to do or it wasn't working out, I could get somewhere again. So I don't know. And I've never been one to be at one place doing the same thing forever. I've had a lot of different licenses in my career. I've done a lot of different work experiences. I like that. Life is short. Don't work as a garbage man for 40 years and then that was your whole life. Like I know so many people who by the time they get to the end of their life, they're defined by their job.
Yeah.
Oh, did you hear Bob Thompson passed away? Oh, that's the guy who taught English for 55 years. That's what you remember of that? I don't want that to be the thing that people necessarily remember me by. Um, if they say, "Oh yeah, Adam, he sold cards." Great, but there's a big list of cool stuff that I've been able to do, that I'm hoping I would have other memories would show up, and then the culmination of all my efforts would be something to be proud of. So it's just another great experience. I really wanted to just build this up and work for myself. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I would still be doing it.
I'm not sure if this question was for you or for Max, because there was a conversation back and forth between Jordan and Max as well. But Jordan says, will you work tomorrow at 4 a.m., assuming because we're up so late tonight?
Yeah, especially tomorrow because I have to go to the dentist at 7. So I'm going to get up at 4. I'm going to try to get all my order stuff done, or a good chunk of it anyway, at least stuff pulled. Go to my dentist, come back, have a couple hours, get a breakfast, and then I'm heading down to Lambeau Field. So yeah, probably even more so tomorrow. I might even get up a little earlier. We'll see. That's why I yawn on the broadcast every week because I get up at 4. So by 10 p.m. I'm pretty toast. Um, but yeah, I mean, even if I work from 4 a.m., even if I work till 4 p.m., I put in 12 hours. you know,
He also suffers from narcolepsy, folks, so he's fighting to stay awake during the show.
always. As soon as I sit in the chair, I'm one of those old dad type guys now. So it is what it is. I'm down to 4% battery, by the way.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So I think we only got a couple chats left. Max says he works 6:30 to 10:30 every day. That's a pretty long day every day.
Yeah, but that I think that's also kind of the fallacy of owning your own business. Oh, well, you can work whenever you want. No, you just work more. you work more, but I feel like there's more reward for it. So it feels like more of an even trade than
Yeah.
like working 12 hours at some paper company or so. You know what I mean? I don't feel like you're going to get as much out of that as you do something like this. And
Yeah.
I feel like a good chunk of my workday is, yeah, operating and collecting income and paying bills and, doing all those things you got to do. But a good chunk of it is also pursuing growth.
Yeah.
So I'm either adding assets to the business or I'm adding, listings. I'm adding number of sales. I'm adding income. Whatever. I feel like I'm constantly working for growth too, and that's more encouraging than, "Oh, I'm still going to be doing this 25 years from now at the same paycheck." Um, I didn't really get anything extra out of it.
Yeah. Max says more jobs should be merit based. I don't think you'll get any argument on that.
Nope, absolutely. I think almost every job should be merit based.
Yeah. Keith says he's got a new vid uploaded and he's got a cart sale that he thinks I'll dig. Is it
Nice.
Tiffy time? It's Tiffy time.
There you go.
Jordan says, dang, I should have sent you my Pat McAfee rookie card to get signed.
Yeah,
Oh, I
he's
did.
here.
Wow.
He's here.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
saw Rich Eisen is at the
Yep.
bar tonight
Yeah, that would be
doing
cool to see.
doing a show.
Yeah, they're doing a podcast over there, aren't
Yep,
they?
podcast tonight, and then he's got a show tomorrow morning, I think, too. So,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna lose you guys. I'm gonna have to bounce. I'm at 1%.
All right. Well, any final words?
No, just remember you can't sell what you don't list.
And don't forget, when you see the GOAT, we're talking the greatest of all time. Have a good night, folks.
See you tomorrow from the NFL draft.